How's it going, Jets fans? It's Ryan Moran coming to you here on this Friday afternoon with another episode of Fireside Jets. We're going to do another free agent film room review here today on Tennessee Titans linebacker David Long Jr., the guy who the Titans drafted in 2019, sixth-round pick, 188th overall, who, has really carved out a nice career for himself up until this point. In his 4 years with the Titans, he played in 50 total games, became a full-time starter in 2021. And one of his issues, over the last 2 years has been durability. He's missed 12 games total. So that is definitely one of his concerns, but he's still a young player, 26, turns 27 in October. So player who should really be entering his prime years coming up if the Jets were to sign him. Physically, he's a bit on the smaller side at 5'11", 227. Athletically, his pre-draft testing numbers, really don't indicate that he's a great athlete, a 4.81 40-yard dash time. But as we'll see when we go over the film cut-ups that I've got for you guys here today, he plays a whole lot faster than that 4.8 40-yard dash time. And he also has really good quickness, which we'll see as well from an athletic standpoint. Statistically, he's had at least over the last 2 years, 2 interceptions in each season. He had 6 passes defended and 75 total tackles in 10 games that he played in 2021. This year in 2022, had 5 PBUs, 86 total tackles in 12 games, and 7 of those tackles went for loss. And 2022 was definitely his best year yet. And he was, he was a pivotal contributor to that Titans first-ranked run defense that they had this year. The 3 games of Long that I studied were Week 5 at Washington, Week 8 at Houston, and Week 11 at Green Bay. And I have 13 cut-ups from those 3 games that we'll get into here and go over. Before we dive into the film, just some of his strengths and weaknesses. Starting out with the strengths, Long has the motor and the speed that Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich look for in their defense. And in that regard, he's really a perfect fit for what they want to do. Like I said, he's got good quickness athletically as well to go along with that speed. Physically, he plays really tough. He's got great tackling power, which we'll see. And he's really capable of playing the run very well, particularly inside the tackles. He's got good instincts. Mentally, he processes things well. He can read and react pretty fast. In coverage, he can play both man on running backs, in zone, over the middle. And he's got sideline to sideline range as well, to really cover a lot of ground. So there's a lot of, good elements that Long offers. And, before we go into some of the cut-ups here, a couple of his concerns I had really just his ability to stack and shed and disengage from blocks, particularly inside. With his smaller size, it isn't really too much of a shock that he can at times really struggle to work off blocks. And really the other one I had, and it comes with the territory of guys who really just rely on their, speed and athletic ability and kind of play with a relentless motor. At times, Long's pursuit angles, I thought, particularly on outside runs and just plays outside the hashes, I think his pursuit angles at times were a little bit too sharp and aggressive. And, it allowed some big plays to really come. So those were really the few concerns I had. And without further ado, let's get into the tape. This first rep here perfectly shows just the pure motor and hustle effort that Long consistently plays with. As you can see, he initially blitzes, but as he turns and locates the ball, he chases the runner behind from a good 10 yards, really showcasing just the relentless effort that he plays with until the whistle. He shows you some of that speed and the ability to really close and chase down here in space. Here, just the pure speed that Long plays with is really evident on a 3rd and short run. He works his way really fast. He bursts through this open B gap here and really forces Dameon Pierce to bounce that run outside. So while he doesn't necessarily finish the play, he really shows you his ability to make an impact with his pure straight line speed on that play. Here, from an instinctual standpoint, he shows you some of his ability to really read and react as the Texans go with a deep drop off play action to make it look like they're going to take a shot, but end up dumping off the screen here. And Long shows you just some of his ability in real time to quickly react here. As you can see here, he identifies the center coming out, and Long does a good job of really pursuing and taking that outside, forcing Pierce to really stick it inside with that run after he catches the ball. Again, here the Texans go with another trick type of play with the halfback pitch, and they're going to throw it here. You can see Long kind of does recognize it as the wide receiver and the tight end really work up the field. And, as he sees Burkhead winding up, you can see he really closes downhill with a ton of speed and forces the throwaway there. As we'll see it from the end zone view here as well. He notices that wide receiver and tight end, working up the field. And from there, he just shows that, ability to pick up speed and make a great, play with, his motor and pursuit, and takes a good angle there as well. On this play here, the Packers have a pony set in the backfield with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon split. They bring Josiah DeGuara in motion here to the end of the line of scrimmage, and they make it look like they're going to go with just an inside zone split action here with AJ Dillon. But as you can see, they fake it to him and they pitch it out to Jones. And in real time here, you can see Long's ability to really read it at the mesh point. And as you can see, he's already really breaking outside. Does a great job of setting that contain out on the edge and funneling Jones back inside to where the Titans pursuing help is coming. Long really has a great ability of being able to play the run with physicality and just finishes runs inside like you see here in space. This play, he does a tremendous job of working through tons of traffic, working from the backside, shows some of his quickness really in some tight areas to work around some blocks, and does a great job of ultimately reaching his landmark and finishing this play here for a tackle for loss. As you can see, tons of blockers. He works his way through and does a good job of, getting his hat on the ball to finish the rep here. One of the concerns that I thought at times with Long were just his ability to take pursuit angles that were way too sharp. So you can see here the Texans go with the pitch to the outside, and Long really shoots up the field way too quick here. I think, there's some space that's left really on the outside voided. And, to me, I think really taking it a little bit softer, flattening, widening that angle out towards the sideline here instead of shooting up the field in, a situation where it's really going to be tough for him to make an impact and, stop the run there. I think that's, one of the concerns that I really saw with Long's game at times. Long really does struggle at times to disengage from blocks. The Packers have Josiah DeGuara insert here, and, Long doesn't necessarily pick up a ton of speed at the point of contact, isn't able to land his hands, and with his smaller size does struggle at times to disengage. On this play, the Packers, dial up a run again to the outside, and Long reads and reacts to it well. He does a good job of pursuing, really keeping that outside contained, setting the edge, but is not able to work off of Mercedes Lewis's block there whatsoever. So we'll see it here from the end zone view once again. Does a good job. He sets that edge, gets out wide, but really from there just cannot disengage. Long does have the ability to play in both, I think, man and zone coverage, and he shows it to you here. He's working from a bit of depth here on the second level and ends up having to cover the tight end on the in-breaking route as Long is really in the hook to curl zone defender role here and does a good job of breaking down, getting his hand in there, breaking up the pass. Shows you just he has some of that short area burst at times when he's working on the second level as a hook to curl zone defender, and has some ball skills as well. Like I said, over the last 2 years has broken up 11 total passes, has 4 total interceptions over the last 2 years. So he does offer the Jets, if they were to sign him, some ability to really play both man and zone. And we'll see some of that man-to-man coverage ability here. The Texans dial up a good play that puts Long in a tough situation. They have condensed splits to both sides, and Long has responsibilities here on the running back out of the backfield who, is working to the flat. And the Texans, with that tight release split there at the bottom, end up doing a switch release, which makes it even tougher really on Long. But he does a good job of maneuvering his way through the traffic, takes a good angle. I do think his pursuit angle is just working straighter to the sideline at times against the pass. I thought were a little bit better than against the run in particular. And he shows you some of that ability to really close with his speed here, that, motor that he has to always finish plays. And he definitely offers the Jets tons of ability to, work in coverage. On this final play here, we'll see some of Long's physicality. Like I said, despite the fact that he's a bit of a smaller player, he really plays with the right temperament, and he's always really willing to get physical. And when he's able to pick up a ton of speed and just work downhill in a straight line, he can really, at full speed, generate some power at the point of attack like you see here, and really helps bottle up this inside run here. I hope you all enjoyed that film on David Long Jr. I think he's a player who ultimately is a perfect fit for what Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich want to do defensively. Just having fast athletes who play with that relentless motor at all times, that all gas, no break mantra. Long is tough. He's physical despite his smaller size, and is a true playmaker on the second level of the defense who would offer the Jets the ability to play in coverage, the ability to defend the run. I think he's really a perfect fit for what the Jets defense is about, and, could potentially give the Jets, a new added boost and, help take this defense to an even greater level. Lastly, from a contract standpoint, I think Long will get at least 3 years and potentially even a fourth with his younger age. And I think from an average annual salary standpoint, probably expect something in the $10 to $13 million a year range. Obviously, the Jets are a big cap strap, so it will be interesting to see, if they're able to make a play for Long. But as we saw here, if they were to ultimately go after him and sign him, they would be getting a huge upgrade to that already fourth-rated defense. Jets Nation, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with some more Fireside Jets content.